How much are you on the new restaurant?
I slept off. I didn't go to that.
Oh, we didn't do, that's the only one I went to. I don't know, did you learn anything in the other two?
I learned to have more questions about like how does the 2045 transportation plan get to the 5-year CIP?
Oh,
Because
it's a process.
trying to figure that out, and I didn't really get there. That was good.
Yeah, a lot of new people.
Good morning and welcome to the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for February 6th, 2020. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda, there are speaker request forms on the table along the left wall. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the staff seated to the left of the dais. At this time, we would also like to ask that if any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device, that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting is not disrupted. Items 1 through 5 have been placed on the consent calendar and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the City Council. The City Council will make the final decision with the exception of the following item. Item 4, 20UR002. The Rapid City Planning Commission's action on this item is final unless any party appeals that decision to the Rapid City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Department of Community Development by close of business on the 7th full calendar day following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 5 that staff would like removed for separate consideration?
Item 4, please.
Okay. Any items 1 through 3 or 5 that the Planning Commission would like removed? And any other items that any audience member, up to number 5, would like removed? Okay, the chair would then entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar, items 1 through 5, in accordance with staff's recommendation, with the exception of item 4. All right, Mike Gollard made that motion. Second. And Mike Kwasny seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.
Morning. Item number 4 is 20-001, a conditional use permit to allow a firefighting training facility. Property is located on Creek Drive. It's currently undeveloped. There is a creek with 100-year and floodway on that east side of the property. Property zone light industrial district, located in a developing and existing industrial corridor along Creek Drive that's south of St. Pat. And the future land use is light industrial. And here we have Creek Drive as a minor arterial. East St. Pat to the north is a principal arterial. You can see the connections. Here's the proposal. It's a firefighting facility for training and educating firefighters and practice in modern rescue training. What this entails is a maintenance and administrative offices over on the west side of the property, and then the training props would be located throughout this area with circulation going around. And those would be the areas where we have different types of props, which firefighters will practice unique situations. And you can see that the west side of the property, or east side of the property here, there's no development. Landscape plan and parking plan, no exceptions are being needed for this proposed facility. And looking into the site to the east along Creek Drive, this is Pepsi. To the south, south on Creek Drive with Purdue Furniture on the west side of the road, and then looking north towards St. Pat, and there's a little industrial center to the north. And there we can see it's quite a large property, 18.88 acres. Staff is recommending approval of the conditional use permit. We believe there is a speaker request form, and Tim Billings from the fire department can answer any specific questions about the proposed project.
Thanks, Fletcher. Any questions for Fletcher before we get to the speaker request? We do have a speaker request here, and I apologize, I can't read the name on it, so Mr. Johnson, if you would come up and speak. Just identify yourself, especially since I cannot. I'm sorry.
Johnson. I just had a couple of questions. We're getting more traffic on
before
that.
You get going,
Excuse me?
Can you just say your name and address to
Alan Johnson,
Alan Johnson.
1911 Lombardi, just
Awesome.
to the north of the property. There's going to be a lot of traffic out there. They're going to fix that road soon and run the other exit out to the south.
I'm going to throw that one to Todd if you're willing.
Yeah, we currently do not have any plans in our 5-year plan for the reconstruction of that road or second access at this time. It is in bad shape, especially as you get close to St. Pat, but due to funding, we just don't have anything available in the next 5 years.
The second access, is that dependent on development towards the south, or is that something that the city's going to pursue?
Long-term Minnesota Street, I believe, goes east, but that's a long ways out, most likely. There's a railroad crossing. Yeah, there's nothing in the 5-year plan for that either.
Okay.
So it's just going to stay the same?
That's what I'm hearing, Mr. Johnson.
Okay. Well, the north side of Creek Drive needs to be fixed too. That's nasty up in there, and there's a lot of traffic. But I guess that's nothing to do with the fire department, but just a question I had.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Kelly?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks. Are there any, I don't know if I should direct this to the occupants or the city, is there any intention of using any fire retardant chemicals, any runoff for the watershed? I know it's, you know, adjacent to Rapid Creek. Are there any studies in place to, you know, sort of mitigate any chances of pollution at the site?
Mr.
Chair,
Billings?
thank you. We'll be employing most firefighting means, so there'll be some foam products, environmentally safe products, that type of thing. I know that there's a lot of concern with that. We worked with FMG to develop the plan for water retention, stormwater retention and treatment prior to discharging any place off-site, and perhaps Kyle might be able to help us with that, define that a little bit better, but nothing of a hazardous nature can be used on the site. So all of our training, perhaps any of the live fire type activities we may have in some of the buildings have to be a Class A type material, so a wood product or straw bales, that type of thing. Sure. So there will be no fuel spills or hydrocarbons that will be used in large pooling type operations like you might see at the base in their firefighting. None of that can occur at this location. But we have taken measures to ensure that the discharge of the water and everything is clean when it comes off there.
Thank you. You guys will be doing live exercises, though, where combustibles will go up, smoke, et cetera?
Yes, in limited forms. We'll be doing within our training tower itself, as well as one other location on the site, be a structure, a house-type structure that we'll work within the confines of that building. There should never be, there may be light discharges of smoke at times, but you shouldn't see any large columns of smoke or anything like that come from the facility. If we're using a search and rescue type of exercises within the confines of a building, usually it's we use smoke machines and that type of thing to develop that atmosphere. So,
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions or comments on item number 4? Okay, Karen made the motion to approve item number 4 per staff stipulations, and Rachel seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is 20 UR 002, a major amendment to a conditional use permit to allow an on-sale liquor establishment in conjunction with a self-serve wine bar. The property is located at 516 7th Street. It's the previous location of a restaurant, which also had a on-sale liquor establishment in it. It closed, moved. The change in operator and change in use from in conjunction with a restaurant to just a wine bar is requiring the major amendment to the plan development. So it's located inside the Buell building. It's zoned central business district, so there's no parking, no landscaping, 0 setbacks. It's existing downtown development, so this is the type of use that we expect to see in the downtown to bring, you know, with the pedestrian activity and entertainment area. Transportation, so it shows principal arterial streets, St. Joseph Street and Main Street. And here we have a breakdown of the building, and some of those, the candy store isn't there anymore, but we've got other on-sale uses in the same structure, the tinderbox and canvas to paint. The breakdown of the suite and how they're going to operate, so it shows the seating area and service. Same as a previous conditional use permit, we've seen self-serve, where they'll go up to the bar area and load a card with a limit on it. That's how they'll see if you know, once they go through how much is on the card, they'll judge whether the person can reload it or not, and that's where they'll be checking the age. The sign is posted on the property. The Changes to the exterior will have to go through historic review. Looking at adjacent properties, south or north on 7th and across the street. And then south in the corner is the canvas to paint. And then the other uses in the building. Staff is recommending approval of the major amendment to the conditional use permit, and the applicant is in the audience if there are any questions regarding the use.
Thanks, Fletcher. Any questions here? I guess I have one. Have we had one of these establishments that has self-serve alcohol go into operation yet? I know we've seen a couple applications.
Currently at Polly's Subs on St. Pat
Okay.
is how they do operate with self-serve. And then they're going to be opening one downtown,
Right.
which we just looked at in the last couple months.
I don't
Well, it is a technology which is out there and being used, so.
Polly's has probably been doing it for a while then?
Yeah.
No issues to speak of that I've heard? Any?
Not aware of any, no.
Okay. Other questions, comments? All right, Mike Goller made the motion to approve item 6 per staff recommendations. Okay. And Karen seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7.
Item number 7 is 19 PD 047. This was the final plan development overlay to expand an auto repair shop, which was continued from the January 23rd meeting. We had a fantastic meeting with the applicant after Planning Commission and came up with some compromise. So what's changed is they've been able to design diagonal parking along that's the west side of the building where they had the parking which backed into the right-of-way. By making it diagonal, they're able to keep the circulation aisle within the property lines, so they'll be able to keep 7 spaces in lieu of the 13 which were there previously, and none of them will back into the right-of-way. In addition, they added some landscaping along this north side of the property, type of shrub, which will be located in that green area to provide additional screening and landscaping for the site. And then on the west side where there's existing fence, they're going to be putting in cloth slats except for where the gates are. So with all these compromises, the stipulations of approval have been changed, so staff is recommending that the final plan development be approved with the stipulations noted in the staff report, including the revision to the parking, which previously it was a reduction from 63 to 20s or 33, and now it would be 63 to 27. Are there any questions for staff at this time?
Karen?
Thank you. Fletcher, I don't know if this is for you or for the Godfreys, but I've never heard of cloth slats before, and so I'm just curious what they are, what they're made of, and what they look like, kind of.
Mr. Chair.
Vicki?
So it's something that we've seen for several years in our community. We would see the plastic slats, and the wind breaks them, and they're loud when it blows. And it's been several years now, and it's like a canvas. So it's very durable. It's aesthetically much more appealing, and it doesn't make the noise in the wind that the plastic slats do. And they do sustain for a long period of time, so it's cost effective to spend that additional money up front. There's several properties along the interstate that have gone to the cloth slats because they were constantly replacing the plastic slats.
Okay, thank you. I've learned something. And I think this is a really good compromise. I appreciate the Godfreys for doing that, coming in and making these changes, and I think this is excellent for them too, so thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Don't have any lights up. Look for a motion then. All right, Vince made the motion to approve item number 7 per the revised staff recommendations. And Mike Goller seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Any staff items, discussion items today?
Not today.
All right. I have one. Thank you for the Ask the Planner yesterday. I thought that was a nice addition. I think it's a good idea to let people come up with questions. Some of them might not have been for a planner, but you had other people there that could field those questions too. So that was, I think, a good idea.
Thank you. And I must say, I was surprised that by the end of it, we had as many people gathered around, in fact, almost too many. It was difficult for everyone to hear what was being said. We were 3 deep around that table. But it's something that we will bring forward again. And maybe this time we'll identify a list of topics so that it interests everyone there, and just general topics, though, educational discussions.
Sure. Karen?
Thank you. I thought it was excellent also. There was a lot of new people that came that I visited with them, coming in, and so I thought that was great. And I could only stay for a while, but I stayed for the dark sky, and that's something that's been on our agenda, if you want to call it, one of those long-range things that we never seem to get to. And I think that's really important. The diagrams that they showed, that the light coming from Rapid City, you can hear or can see clear back to the Badlands. And driving across the state, I think most people have noticed that little hue that you see. And I think it's important that we not only look at our individual things that we do in our parking lots and all those kind of lights, but I think we should also look at signage, and there's a lot of signs out there that emanate so much bright light. Some of it's, reasonable. I don't want to take signage away, but I know there's a few things that out there that are really too bright. So, and it's hard to follow up on that. I know I've had Brad look at some signage and just to see if the light's correct, and by the time you have to wait for the right moon not to be around there, you have to wait for the time of night, you have to have personnel go out there, set up their equipment, do all that stuff. It's not an easy job to check on those signs. So I just think that that's something in the future that we should look at a little more closely. So I appreciate that, and I hope we can get something going with the dark sky. So thanks.
All right. I had a motion from Rachel to adjourn. We'll take that, and if there's a second.
Second.
All right, Karen seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, we're adjourned.